record कर. We'll start with the doer. Is the
Hmm.
size and all okay?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely okay for
ठीक
me.
है.
लेफ्ट पैन को बंद कर दीजिए, लेफ्ट पैन थोड़ा और बड़ा हो जाएगा.
Yeah, already you are seeing it on a 18-inch screen. No, not 18, 32-inch. मेरे
So,
पास खाली एक टीवी पड़ा हुआ था,
how
उसको लाके सेकंड स्क्रीन बना दिया. चलो.
10. The doer. The doer in the body. Error in the conception of I. The personality and re-existence. The doer portion after death. The portions not in the body. How a doer portion is drawn out of re-existence. Only one of the 12 portions of the doer is embodied at any one time. Each portion represents a different aspect of the doer and re-exist to accomplish a definite purpose. Each of these portions is a separate portion and yet is related to all the others because the doer is one doer. That portion of the doer which re-exists is not conscious of its connection with the other portions. At the end of the heaven period, that portion enters again into relation with the other portions, returns to its place among them, and remains there until the other portions have re existed, each in its turn. Then it re exists again. E. Each portion.
E नहीं, each portion. वो E duplicate होगा.
Got that. Each portion is responsible for itself, makes its own destiny, takes up its own life, and reaps what it has sown.
And
Reaps
reaps what it has sown.
sown.
Acha. Now, sir, here there is one question that is coming to my mind. Each portion is responsible for itself, makes its own destiny, takes up its own life, and reaps what it has sown. And only one portion is coming to earth. So what's happening to the others? Are they in the multi-dimensions then?
I don't know. Because
Because that is what is striking.
It is not multi-dimensional. What do you call it? It will be there in the realm, I think.
Yeah, so there are those 12 dimensions.
They are
It
waiting
may be
there.
in various dimensions based on where it has progressed.
So each one of us come. So that doer of mind which has come has its own purpose.
Correct.
Based on what? So once that purpose is achieved, you go back and probably the next portion of my doer will take birth and so on until all that. That's what I think. That's what it means.
Correct. So the other 11 portions of the doer constitute the non-existing portion.
Correct. Yes.
These are, however, affected by the embodied portion during its life as well as after the death of its body. The portion of the doer which is embodied may be, though it need not be affected by these portions which are not embodied.
So what it implies to my knowledge is those portions which are not embodied can get affected by the embodied, but not the other way.
No, but the other way it will be the wisdom that is available to the embodied fellow. No?
But if you look at the first sentence, the doer which is non-existing can get affected by the embodied doer, but the embodied doer is not during this phase affected by the which are not embodied.
Sir, one sir.
Affected by the embodied portion during its life as well as after the death of its body.
Just think about it. That's what he says. Because the disembodied portion is aware of the embodied, but the embodied is not aware of the.
Hmm. Yeah,
The next para is this.
yeah.
So वो तो
Sometimes,
maybe है ना सर, maybe है ना
Hmm.
sir, which is embodied maybe, though it need not be affected by
Correct.
those portions which are not embodied, so it is
Correct.
maybe.
Correct. Maybe. Yes. Correct.
Okay. So sometimes more than one portion of the doer is embodied during one life.
Oh.
This happens when the embodied portions works to the advantage of the doer and its capacity for work is increased. Sometimes some of the embodied portion is withdrawn, as in old age, insanity, or after the disregarding consciousness,
Conscience.
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 In the portion of the doer, which re-exists, sometimes feeling predominates and sometimes desire.
Okay, here,
Hmm.
yeah. So now here another question that comes. Sometimes more than one portion of the doer is embodied during one life.
Hmm.
Can be.
So when it is twins, do we consider them as two separate entities, two separate souls, or is it
I
fragmented soul?
I don't think that is true. It's a one soul only. That's my understanding of this. But two portions of the doer are there within the same
Now
soul.
that also could be
It's,
the
it's,
case. It could be two separate also. Both should be possible.
you can't have two souls in one body. I don't think it's possible.
No, not in one body. I'm talking about twins.
Oh, twins.
Twins, as they
Uh,
are taking life, they could be two separate souls or there could be two portions of the same souls. Because we have like twins and unlike twins, both hai na?
correct. I don't know.
I'm just extending my imagination by
Yeah.
raising a confusing question.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know.
Sometimes more than one portion of the doer is embodied during one life. This happens when the embodied portion works to the advantage of the doer and its capacity for work is increased.
That's the point. I think if the energy or ability of that body is high, then two portions, not just one portion, both it can accommodate another portion. That's what it
Correct.
implies.
सर ऐसा भी हो सकता है ना, लाइक अनीता मूरजानी, ओके, शी डाइड, शी केम बैक at that moment, when she is coming back, the second embodied portion got embodied into her body.
So
That
that
may
was
not happen. That's a very rare
that's a
problem.
different thing. That was different. It's not the same.
No, that was an experience on path of her awakening.
Correct.
ND is, that's what I was reading. I'm
Mm.
reading a couple of books on 5D.
Mm.
Okay. Now that is what I am understanding. 5D में जब जाते हो तो बात अलग है.
Mm.
सो ये सारी चीजें शायद से तब होती होंगी. दिस इज वन
No.
थिंग.
No,
From
the near-death experience is part of a soul journey.
ओके.
from
Okay,
this
that
para,
means
what? No,
this
from
para
this.
is different.
Yeah, correct. From this para, what I understand is, if the capacity of the doer of this body is high, it can accommodate another portion.
ओके. सो सर जो हायर सोल्स होते हैं, नॉट हायर सोल्स, द मोर एनलाइटेंड people in the world, okay, they may be able to accommodate two embodies or something like that.
We don't know. It has not been explained.
Not only enlightened, capacity, that's the energy. This particular body doer, this particular body must have such high energy. It sort of means capacity. It is
सर हमने
capable
ये
of
भी
doing.
उस दिन वी डिस्कस दैट डे कुड बी अ स्प्लिट पर्सनालिटी.
No, split personality is a different thing. It's kind of an aberration.
ठीक है. In the thinker, which contacts the body, rightness and the reason are equal. One does not dominate the other. The knower contacts the body in a small degree, enough for I-ness to give identity, and for selfness to furnish light from the intelligence.
So this is the doer. Doer has got multiple paradigms of assignment. The
Hmm.
thinker and all that, they are all always equal. There is no imbalance there. Okay. Chalo aage.
In the successive existence, the re-existing portion of the doer takes up its own life and not the life of any of the other portions.
Mm.
The 12 portions of the doer are one and inseparable. Each is what makes the human being of the doer conscious as a human, distinct from the other human beings throughout the period of his earth life.
Okay. So यहाँ पे probably if we overlay the content of Dr. Michael Newton and Peter Richelieu and all this means is each is what makes the human. That means we are existing in the 12 dimensions at various degrees of awareness.
Mm.
So our existence is in at various degrees. In some we are advanced, in some we are not. So if we take Michael Newton, he is talking about a matrix of 35 sections.
Hmm.
Right, each section has got a combination. If you take David Hawkins' map of consciousness, there are multiple levels. So in each end, if you take the Merkaba, that is basically the spiritual lessons versus the physical lessons, the way I am able to visualize is that each of those lessons that you choose, whether it is earthbound or spiritual bound, they are going to be mapped onto the portions that have come into the earth, and their level of existence is going to be the one that will undergo the experience.
Mm.
How does that sound?
Yeah, I think that looks rational.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's the way the whole progression of the soul journey is likely to happen.
Mm.
Let's continue.
A human is conscious that he is conscious, but he is not conscious as that which is conscious.
Very interesting sentence. You'll have to understand this really carefully.
A human is conscious that he is conscious. Conscious that you are conscious is you are intelligent.
You know.
Yeah.
I know.
But he is not conscious as that which
As a
is
conscious being.
conscious. As a conscious being. He is not aware.
You are not conscious as a conscious being, but you
Correct.
know you are conscious.
Yes.
You
Exactly.
understand that? That's what it says.
So your existence need not be intelligent, but you know that you are intelligent.
That's a myth. We always, take it in our mind.
No, he is explaining that here.
He is not conscious that he is only a portion of a doer, or that there are the other portions, or of relations between himself and these non-embodied portions.
That is not what he is conscious.
Yes.
You start getting assigned and you are more conscious of this embodied body, not the non-embodied portions.
Yes. He is conscious of his.
So, which in other words means what we were interpreting.
Yes.
Saying that you are multiple levels of existence, each of them in their core selected area is at an advanced stage or he is not at an advanced stage.
Yes. He
This
is
is interesting.
conscious. Yeah. He is conscious of his feeling, desiring, and thinking, and of his identity.
Correct.
He is conscious of I, but not as a I, and he does not know the I. He does
So
not
he is
know himself.
conscious of I. He is conscious of his identity,
the
not the
personality.
big I, but the small I.
He doesn't know also that there is the I, the big I.
Correct.
He does not know himself, nor does he know how he feels and desires, nor how he thinks.
No, how is that happening? He is not aware.
Yes.
Exactly.
So that means he is talking about at the beginning stage, not at an advanced soul.
Yes.
Interesting.
The doer in the body says to itself, I see, I hear, I taste, I smell, I touch. But it does nothing of that kind. It cannot see, hear, taste, smell, or touch. The sense of sight looks
No,
through.
no. See, understand this properly. There is feeling, desire, thinking. There are three components.
Mm.
The doer in the body says to itself, I see, I hear. That means he is conscious that he is
In a materially speaking word,
in a
physical.
materialistic manner.
Not only that, sir, his all senses are working. Okay, so he can see, he can hear, all five
No,
instruments are working.
his physical senses.
Yes.
He is identifying everything under the guise of under the regime of the physical senses.
Correct.
That is what it means. Okay. The sense of sight. Yeah.
The sense of sight looks through the eye, sees through the eye, and makes on the breath form a record of what it sees.
Okay.
The breath form carries the impression of the feeling of the doer.
Mm.
The desire side of the doer passes the impression on the body, mind to have translated and interpreted it in terms of feeling the impression brought in by the sense of sight.
Mm.
Then the feeling of the doer, being all over the body, identifies itself with the sense of sight, which does the seeing and says to itself, I see, which is an error.
Because he is not the only one who is seeing. All of them are seeing.
So the whole mechanism of your body is working all together to make you
Mm.
prove that, okay, you are seeing.
Correct. Okay.
Yeah. It is only conscious of what is seen, heard, tested, smelled, and contacted by the senses. It does not itself do any of these things.
Correct.
It feels identity with or as the senses because it is conscious of them and not conscious what it is not the senses and that it merely feels through them.
Now, एक minute. It feels identity with or as the senses. That means it feels identity with the senses or as the senses because it is conscious of them and not conscious that it is not the senses and that it merely feels through them. That means it has to rise above. It feels identity with the senses or because of them. But anything that is beyond contact that is existing, he is not able to recognize them.
Exactly. Correct.
Let's go further.
So come down.
Yeah,
So Rupati,
yeah.
it merges itself with the senses by feeling and then cannot be separated from them.
Hmm.
Feeling will be emerged. Feeling will be merged with
Nice.
senses and be conscious of itself as this senses until it desires to feel itself apart from them.
हाँ, एक बात मेरे को पढ़ने दो. Feeling will be merged with these senses and be conscious of itself. Be conscious of itself as these senses until it desires to feel itself apart from them. That means it goes beyond the senses.
It realizes
And then,
somewhere.
correct. And then, thinking with its feeling mind, it will identify itself and establish itself as feeling and as being different from the senses.
Correct.
That means till feeling paradigm enters its consciousness, it is under the consciousness of the sights.
We are trapped by the
This-
senses. We are trapped by the senses,
We are trapped by the
not by the senses.
senses.
Unless at some point in time we become aware and realize senses are just an instrument to feeling, our feeling is way beyond it.
Correct. Yeah.
The doer in the body says, I feel, I think, I know. In this, it is nearly as much in error as when it believes that it sees or hears.
Hmm.
It is true that the doer in the body feels and thinks after a fashion, but the real I does not feel and does not think.
Hmm.
Okay. The error lies in the conception.
Of what
What that
that I is.
Correct.
The I of which the embodied portion of the doer is conscious is a delusion. It is a false I and is the basis of the actions of the human being. The false I is feeling and desire, the doer, and identifies itself moreover with the physical body and the senses.
And that is the error that we live in.
Yes.
Chalo, aage.
There could be no conception by the feeling mind as an I if there were not actually an I present.
Hmm.
This I is the I-ness of the triune self. But the doer in the body is not conscious as that. Being conscious of the presence of that I causes feeling to make the mistake, and that it is what it feels, where it only feels the I.
Whereas it
Whereas
only
it,
feels the I, but is not that I anymore, that it is the four senses.
it has become aware of the true I.
Correct. See, being conscious of the presence of that I causes feeling to make the mistake.
Yes.
So when you get conscious, then, right, what it feels,
Whereas,
it causes the feeling to make the mistake that it is what it feels. Whereas it only feels the I, but is not that I anymore, that it is the four senses. That means it is not assigned with the senses, it is going beyond that.
Hmm.
Okay?
feeling tries to find the I in desire, and desire wants to get the I from feeling. This interaction of each trying to get the I in the other or adds to the mystery of identity of what is the true I and what is the true self.
Hmm.
By
Hmm.
their thinking, feeling, and desire can never give a correct interpretation of this mystery because
No, by their thinking, feeling and desire can never give a correct interpretation of this mystery.
the feeling mind can solve the mystery of feeling and the desire mind. Sorry. Because the
Correct.
feeling mind can solve the mystery of feeling and the desire mind can solve the mystery of desire. But these minds cannot be made to solve the mystery of I and of selfness.
Correct. Because they are restricted, no, they are not beyond that.
Yes.
Hmm.
Rightness does not confirm but leaves them in doubt. The subject they are dealing with is truth, a reality, but their solution is not right. The mistake about the I and the self of the human being is due to a delusion which is produced by thinking under the pressure of feeling and desire.
Correct. That means they are, that's exactly what he is repeating here.
Pressure, yeah. They're
Yeah.
under a pressure.
So the doer in the body is conscious of itself as being something which is not, something which it is not, and it is not conscious of what it actually is. This delusion of the false I lies at the basis of the human being, which is partly personality and partly doer.
This is the embodied doer. Yeah.
The personality consists of the physical body with the four senses, all operated by the breath form.
Breath form.
The personality is an inseparable combination during life. It is a mask, a costume. It does not work alone. In it is the embodied portion of the doer. The doer uses the personality, speaks through it, acts as its behest and conceives that it is the personality.
The personality is an inseparable combination of life during life. It is a mask, a costume. It does not work alone. In it is the embodied portion of the doer. The doer uses the personality, speaks through it, acts at its behest, and conceives that it is the personality. But it is beyond that.
Yes. The
This
combination of
personality is the combination. आगे बढ़ो.
the
The
combination
combination.
of the personality and the embodied portion of the doer is the human being and usually identifies itself as the personality.
This is the physical identification.
Thereby,
Thereby,
it shuts out the possibility of being advised by the thinking that this is an error. Its feeling and desiring and thinking are done for nature. It is not conscious of true feeling and desire or of true thinking, which are done by the doer for itself apart from nature.
So
this
when
doer,
does
yeah,
no when thinking, actually the true thinking comes to knock here, we are not aware of that. We are not open to that.
correct.
As a human being, we just get trapped into this feeling, desire, and the thinking.
Correct.
So, sir, this is what when we start meditating, at least we start understanding the things now.
Not just meditating. When you start reading, understanding spiritual science,
See, when
we
you
get
develop
become
your wisdom, right, you start understanding that you are more than the physical body. You understand what he has introduced through that you are basically multi-tiered structure, right? Through books on theosophy, what are we understanding? When I ask myself, who am I? I am Annamaya Kosha, I am Pranamaya Kosha, I am Manomaya Kosha, I am Vijnanamaya Kosha, right? This is, when you understand and accept and align yourself with that concept, and then when you are trying to look at something, right? For example, people who have read a number of books, they will immediately understand what this is. Number of spiritual books if we read. Now, when I first heard the word, we are light bodies, I said, they are stupid. Can't they see what they see? Right? Today when I talk that we are light bodies.
Yes.
When I get a pain somewhere, I say it is the physical body that is experiencing the pain. But the cause of the pain is not the physical body. It is lying somewhere else. So all these become the wisdom. Only then we start realizing it is. Without that understanding, if we sit in meditation, it is all breathe in, breathe out, and
correct.
magic and miracle.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
So this is exactly what Charles Dawson says in my Bliss Mind. Just sitting
Correct.
for 1 hour and think you are meditating is not meditation.
That is not.
Yes.
Yeah.
The human does not identify himself with the atmospheres and the portions of the doer inside and outside of the physical body. The I, as which the human being is conscious, is a false I.
That is why it is not false. See, basically, manifested plus unmanifested is equal to 1. We are aligning ourselves only with what is manifested. Right? And what we derive from the unmanifested is in line with what our senses are able to tell us, which
Yeah.
is false.
Hmm.
That is where the whole thing goes into the false domain.
Can I digress a little here?
Yes, sir.
You notice nowadays, particularly WhatsApp, people are complaining. There are many images, many stories that are coming created by AI, generative AI.
Correct.
And we know it's all false. But it's very difficult to now say which is false and which is real.
Exactly.
Do you understand this exactly what is happening here without our realizing? And we accept certain things as right. Now we're slowly realizing things could be false. And that's what even Stephen Hawking said long ago, even before he
Correct.
died. I think this is all false.
Exactly.
From a purely physics point of view, he said it's all false. Now we know from a spiritual point of view that is true false. There is something beyond it. And we are dealing with all these are artificial things that we're dealing with.
And we are considering it a miracle.
Exactly. But you know, the beauty of it is, very recently I was having a discussion with a group of people.
Mm.
If as AI keeps pushing and people begin to believe, find out more and more things are false, there is a realization that will come. See, with Gen AI, many of the so-called doing that your normal work, etc., will go. But you will be forced to be more creative thinker. And that
Yes,
will push you towards awareness. And that is what is going to happen.
sir, I have my own interpretation which is slightly different.
Ah,
Basically, what is this AI? AI is a aggregation of our collective statements and thoughts which have been created over multiple generations. Every person thinks, every person writes something.
mm,
Unless it has been written somewhere, it has been captured somewhere, be it in
mm,
audio, video, or
mm,
in print, right?
mm,
AI
mm,
can do nothing.
mm.
AI has to collate from there.
No, there's a slight, when it comes to Gen AI, there's a slight I agree with you totally. What Gen AI tries to do is go beyond the little less and creates an algorithm to be a little more creative. Now, but what it is doing is making us realize that this is all false. Now,
Exactly.
that will push us to believe because of this Gen AI, your jobs will also go. Now, for us, all thing is or doing is what? Doing is to earn your job, earn your living,
Correct.
right? That will not be possible now.
It
So
won't be.
once that happens, yeah, now you look at a much larger way. Your thinking broadens beyond this, forced by Gen AI. Your thinking
Correct.
changes. Once your thinking changes, now you start becoming more and more creative in your thinking and becoming more and more aware.
See, that is where you can either become a victim of AI,
Correct.
accepting it, or
Yes.
using AI as a tool which is your servant.
Excellent. That is the right way. In fact, one of the lectures I gave recently also say AI is not a substitute, but it is an assistant. If you realize that AI is going to be an
Now,
assistant,
you are
you
one
will go above it.
level above the AI, not
You
below
are
the
going
AI.
above. Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Right.
Yes.
No, in fact, I was just trying. I was wanting to create. See, I'm supposed to give a lecture on the 5D as well as on the changing your perceptions
Mm,
and living in 5D
mm,
on Tuesday night.
mm.
There's some group has requested me. I don't know, out of the blue, I got tricked into it. They sent me a message saying, "Are you free on 15th?" So they were generally asking for a chat. I said, "Yes, I am free." They said, "Thank you very much and welcome to this session on that day." We,
Trapped.
I, I, I became victim to the AI in the sentence. Right? So now I have to give that lecture. Now it is joining. The wisdom is there in the mind. You ask me to speak as extempore, I can. But if you are giving a lecture, I can't do it as in an extempore mode.
Correct.
Because that will be more like a conversation. So now I just typed into one of the AI PPT tool. Right? What is changing your perception? So it gave me some 12 bullet points as PPTs. Right. Now that is setting my thoughts around that as the central theme for each. There are 12 slides that I've got created. I will have to choose 2 or 3 because I've got a total of 45 minutes in which I have to complete the lecture. The second one is living in 5D. So what is 5D? I have to give that explanation, marry the two and create a practical theme out of it. So that is what this AI as a tool is helping me. I can't directly take what AI is going to throw to me and
You're
use
using
it
it
for
as
that presentation.
correct.
You need to be above that at all times. Same
AI
is
is
the
like a
case with consciousness and the physical existence.
exactly.
Sir, you're
AI,
saying something.
no, AI is like the magician's assistant. She
Exactly.
helps him. She even goes into the box to get cuts, but she doesn't do that. Right?
Yeah.
You're the magician.
The personality as a whole does not re-exist. Parts of it do. It is dissolved before another portion of the doer re-exists in a new personality.
Yeah, we heard about this. Yeah.
Yeah.
The human being does not re-exist as a whole. His fourfold body and transient units do not re-exist. The breath matter of the breath form returns to the matter of the 4 worlds from which it has drawn.
It was drawn.
Yeah, from which it was drawn. Yeah.
The matter of the body is dissipated into the 4 states of matter of the physical plane, and these transient units go back into nature and continue to travel through the heavenly bodies and the bodies of the minerals, plants, animals, and humans. The matter that made up these beings may or may not be part of the future body of a human being of the doer. Between re-existence of the portion of the doer with its breath form, which had been in the human being, recedes from the outer crust of the earth through the earth towards the inner crust, and in certain zones between these two crusts, the doer with its breath form has its hell and its heaven. Figure 5.
Both. 5D is the 13th circle, no? वो 13 stages का देता है ना, वो है 5D. Yeah.
During his journey, the human being is divested of his carnal desires, which make his hells until they have burned themselves off, and is later enveloped in a dress of his nobler desire, which makes his heaven.
So basically what he's saying is in your fixed, see, these, if you take the map of consciousness to understand this very clearly, if you are living above the courage, the 200 point deta hai na vibration ka. If you are living above the 200 point, then you are living in nobler, that is heaven. Anything below that becomes hell.
So वो जो jealousy का ego वो वाला so
Correct.
traits है
So
वो.
all those are going to pull you down and keep you in the hell. Right? Now, between the outer crust and the inner crust, these are the things that are happening. This is inner crust is earth and outer crust is
Heaven.
correct.
So
It's
sir,
very interesting. Omar Khayyam said
Ah,
this beautifully. He says in one of his rubaiyats, he says, um, I sent my soul to the invisible for a letter of the afterlife to spell. By and by, my soul returned to me and said, I am only heaven and hell. Exactly
Yeah.
what.
So between the outer and the inner surfaces of the earth crust, there are passages and chambers like cavities in a
sponge.
sponge. In these, each doer portion has its own experiences, which are the development of its thoughts during the past life. No new thinking takes place. Each concentrates on and repeats automatically.
The thinking done in life. The thinking done in life, and this conjures up
Conjures up. Yeah,
conjures up events of which it is their conscious.
correct.
So sir, इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि इस अर्थ इस लाइफ में you came for some experiences, you lost.
Between the outer crust and the inner crust, these are the things that are existing. There is no new thinking there. Yeah, let's go ahead.
The run of human beings are not developed beyond feeling and desire. Their thinking concerns
Yeah, I think I have to do something with, I don't know where to, I have to go to the web to do this.
हाँ,
ये
जो
annotation का
same
disable करना पड़ेगा ना.
Yes.
So before you continue, why do you say no new thinking happens?
On the physical earth, he is talking about between the life and life.
Okay.
See,
You're
between
trapped-
the
you're
outer
trapped-
crust and the inner crust surfaces of the earth's crust, there are passages and chambers like cavities in, right? In a sponge, just like you have cavities and chambers in the sponge, you have that. In these, each doer portion has its own experiences, which are the development of its thoughts during the past life. So all your karma is sitting there as impressions.
Got it. No, my mistake. I mistaken interpretation. Sorry. Yeah.
Correct.
चंदा सर, एज अ होस्ट ना आपके पास में वो पावर है, यू कैन स्विच ऑफ द
I know, I'm seeing where they are. I'm not able to find that participants or host tools. I don't see annotation here.
That's okay. It's not disturbing you much.
Okay. The run of a human beings are not developed beyond feeling and desire. Their thinking
Maybe it should
concerns,
work. Yeah.
their thinking concerns this, and they identify themselves with them. Feeling and desires have now to do with surfaces only. Therefore, the doer of the average human does not go much beyond the outer earth crust.
Into the inner. After death,
The doers are in states, but for a short time. They are also in what would be to sensuous perception, localities on surfaces in the earth crust.
so after death, the doer are in states, but for a short time. They are also in what would be to sensuous perception, localities on the surfaces in the earth crust. Okay, to that. Okay, now continue.
In life, they knew of what In life, they knew of but one dimension, surfaces, and to this they are limited after death. The exceptional human beings whose lives were not dominated by the lower feelings and desires go beyond these surfaces into the inner sphere. In life, the doer in the body conceives of itself as an entity, the human being.
Hmm.
And this entity does not know itself any better after death than it did while it acted through the personality in life.
Hmm.
तो यानी कि मरने के बाद बार विजडम आ जाता है?
नहीं आया, नहीं
हाँ,
आ रहा है,
नहीं
अभी तक
आ
नहीं
नहीं
आया,
रहा है ना। See,
नहीं आ रहा है.
यहाँ देखो, the exceptions, the exceptional human being whose lives were not determined by the lower feelings and desires go
वो भी
beyond the surfaces into the inner sphere.
या
If in life they knew of but one dimension, surface, and to these they are limited after death.
हम्म
Right? What was that one dimension? It is the physical dimension.
हम्म
But the exceptional human beings whose lives were not dominated by lower feelings,
हम्म
right? Who were materialistically, what do you call, they had crossed the awareness threshold, right?
हम्म
They go beyond these surfaces into inner spheres. That means you are going into your astral body, astral travels, mental body, mental causal body, and so on. You are able to identify those parts of the journey.
हम्म then you
Okay.
reach to the outer sphere of the earth crust.
No, you are going inner.
Okay.
अर्थ क्रस्ट अगर जब देखोगे, it is inner.
हाँ
Okay. In life, the doer in the body conceives of itself as an entity,
the human
the human, right? In life. And this entity does not know itself any better after death that it did while it acted through the personality in life.
Yeah.
उसने क्या
That-
किया उसको मालूम नहीं.
It doesn't change if immediately after death. That's what it means.
Correct, correct. The false identity does not change. He
Though
he takes time. That is why you have the healing portion after you go out. Yeah, chalo.
the false identity does not change, though the desires and the thoughts change as the human goes through his hell and his heaven after death.
Hmm.
The portion of the doer that was embodied does not recognize its relation to the triune self as a whole because it did not know it during life. The journey from the outer crust towards the inner are made by that which carries with it the identity
It
it had in life.
Correct. After
After the end of the eternity of happiness in heaven, this false I as the human being disappears. When the portion that was embodied is gradually withdrawn from the breath form into its psychic atmosphere, there it rests until each of the other doer portion has re-existed in its turn and
that
then
has re-existed in its turn, and then it is drawn out again from an embodiment into a new being.
new human being.
See, let me read that pen. After the end of the eternity of happiness in heaven, this false I as the human being disappears. That means वो ego सब निकल गया. That compartmentalization or loyalty, the functional loyalty when you are working in an organization type of an attitude is no more in existence. Those have got eroded. Okay. When the portion that was embodied is gradually withdrawn from the breath form into its psychic atmosphere, into the astral layer, right? that is when that is getting erased. There it rests. That means वो जो ऊपर ये हो गया है, लेकिन वो एस्ट्रल बॉडी में उसका जो भी स्टेट है वो वहीं पे पड़ा हुआ है. There it rests until each of the other doer portions has re-existed in its turn, and then it is drawn out again from an embodiment into a new human being. So
until
ये
the next birth
astral
at least.
layer से it is sucked in
Until rebirth.
until rebirth. The portions of the doer that were not embodied are, however, affected in life and after death by the portion that was embodied. Because the new situation, everything has to readjust itself. Na? So that happens. In life, there was a connection in the kidneys and adrenals between the doer portion and the thinker portion and the knower, which had contact through the breath and the heart and lungs, with the heart and lungs, and with the pituitary and pineal body. That is how those components are organized. Okay. In life, currents
in life, currents in the atmosphere float to and from the parts outside the body through the embodied portion.
Correct.
These currents were kept up by the three breaths of the triune self flowing through the fourfold physical breath.
Correct.
There was a straightening or weakening.
Strengthening or weakening.
A calming or disturbing. A darkening or enlightening of the non-embodied portions.
Correct.
After this ceases, after death, this ceases. Then the reaction comes.
Correct.
The results produced upon the non-embodied portions are then thrown back upon the portion that was in the personality and produce in it the automatic feeling and thinking that makes the hell and heaven for the false I. These states of suffering and of happiness are intensified because the intermingling and alteration of pain and pleasure.
Alternation means upar niche, that intermingling.
Of pain and attention, yeah.
Correct.
Which came in life are absent.
Correct.
The reactions from the non-embodied portions are therefore more poignant and severe in hell and more intense in heaven than were the casual feelings in life. These reactions continue until the results in the non-embodied portions which were affected during life are exhausted by the suffering and happiness of the false I.
Correct.
Then the portion which was embodied is ready to be reabsorbed into the atmosphere of the doer. When this takes place, after the end of the heaven period, the four senses return to their elements. The compositor units build up the structure of the animals or the plants. The breath leaves the form of the breath form, and the AIA remains in its undimensional state.
मतलब अभी क्या है, everything has got disintegrated. Right? They have reduced to elemental state, which is your fire, air, body, fire, air, water, earth crust and patterns. Okay? Patterns are there in the AIA. All these have returned to nature, the other four. Okay? Now let's go further.
The form of the breath form is then reduced to speck, as of a ash, a point, inert, and is in the psychic atmosphere of the doer. There it waits until the ruling thought for the next life of the doer portion to re-exist causes the AIA to revivify that inner point with essential matter of the worlds as its breath, and it is again the breath form.
Yeah.
Correct. So these are all sitting as particles, right? The patterns in which they are to be reorganized is then triggered when the next form is to take place.
So the next birth to be takes place.
करेक्ट. एक बिल्डिंग खत्म हो गया, अभी नया बिल्डिंग चालू होने वाला है, ब्लूप्रिंट तैयार हो रहा है.
तो उसी ड्यूरेशन में
And-
सोल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट,
Exactly.
एक्सपीरियंस, फलाना ढिकना, वो सारा चीज होता है.
हाँ,
or
करेक्ट
could result in a worse building.
या
करेक्ट. वो कोलैप्स हो सकता है, कुछ भी हो सकता है.
when the doer
Yeah.
portion which was embodied has joined the portions that were not in the flesh, the false I as which the human beings was conscious ceased to be.
Ceases to be.
Ceases to be.
Ceases to be. It will have its next embodiment after each of the non-embodied portion has re-existed in its turn.
करेक्ट. जो पोर्शन जो था वो पोर्शन, उसका नंबर कब लगेगा? जब बाकी सबका नंबर खत्म हो जाएगा.
खत्म हो जाएगा and then they again okay.
Come back.
करेक्ट करेक्ट.
The thinker of the triune self directs the portion to be drawn out to make up the next human being according to the ruling thought of that portion. That thought is the sum of the thoughts of its past life. Though this may seem numerous, various, and hard to coordinate, yet the thoughts which underlie them are simple and much alike because they have the same aim. It is their designs which make them vary. Many designs often specialize the same aim. Usually, an aim or a few aims unite all the thoughts of any life into one dominating thoughts. This has a continuity, notwithstanding slight variations in the aims. It changes very little from life to life. With average people, because they allow themselves to be pushed or led by circumstances and by passive thinking. So the role, same people you get it, same experience again because you have forgotten your sole purpose of coming back to the earth. Then you again come back with the balancing out on.
करेक्ट.
The ruling
Yeah.
thought is a being of a great power. It gets its power from the desire of the doer and from the light of the intelligence. It gets its good or evil aspects from the use of which it has put the light of the intelligence which it has sent into a nature, and from the amount of light it has brought back into the noetic atmosphere. Such other portion of the doer are also drawn into relation to the portion about to re-exist as will supply the characteristics which the ruling thought requires to let the person to be a burglar or a banker, a calm digger,
A clam digger.
Depending
Clam
upon
digger.
whatever is his next pre-birth plan, all those will be drawn from the noetic plane.
So clam digger or an archaeologist, a housewife or an actress.
Correct.
Without the relation of this other portions, the ruling thought could not manifest itself as the new human being. These other portions are drawn in to satisfy unfulfilled wishes, to enable destiny to come home, to allow other thoughts to find cyclic expression, which past lives did not afford them. Furnish an opportunity for learning special things, to open avenues for a new adventures, and to fill out the personality.
So this is how karma will act. That is what it means.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
All attainments which are matters of memory, like professional or business efficiency, together with mechanical skills, are left behind. Whereas tendencies, habits, manners, health, and temperament, which are not as superficial but express aspects of the doer itself, may be brought over as a characteristic traits. Such externals as rank,
Rank, money,
money,
position.
position, success, or their opposites are evanescents, and if not needed for the doer to learn from, will not appear among the surroundings of the new human beings.
That means अगर वो lesson पूरा हो गया तो उसका associated characters will not come, but they may be part of his existing wisdom. क्योंकि वो न्यूरोटिक प्लेन में पहुंच गया है. ठीक है. So
So,
11 we will start again tomorrow.
so
Okay.
हम लोग एक नहीं क्या वो आपने जो डेस्टिनी चार्ट एंड ऑल बनाने